Hello, I'm Kels from the Ford Police Department. Is it Shayla Rosso's cell phone? Your daughter had an accident. Go to the hospital immediately. Huh? I'll be right there. Which hospital? Is my daughter safe? This is Sakura General Hospital. Yes, I understand. Thank you. I hung up the phone, but I don't know where to start. Anyway, I hurriedly prepared an insurance card and wallet. At the same time as I grabbed the car key and opened the front door, my daughter hurriedly entered from outside. I forgot my water bottle. What? Letha, you got into an accident? In front of me is the figure of Letha, who is looking at my face curiously. What the hell is going on here? I'm Shayla Rosso. I'm 40 years old and a housewife mom. My husband, Jackie, was a classmate in the same high school. Since it was a mammoth school, we had no contact with each other in high school, and we met at a class reunion when we were 23 years old and hit it off. After that, it went on until we got married, and I got married at the age of 24. My husband is an elite salaryman who works for a prestigious company. I quit my job as a medical clerk when I got married. Later, at the age of 25, I gave birth to a girl. I named her Letha. My marriage is very peaceful, and my husband is a kind person who takes great care of his family. When I was pregnant, he helped me with the housework when I was very sick and always cared for me. Even after the birth of our daughter, my husband takes the initiative in raising children. Of course, the care for me is also perfect. In such a warm family, my daughter really grew up and is now 15 years old and in the third year of junior high school. Upping club activities, I am practicing hard for the last tournament. However, my daughter, who had been obedient since entering junior high school, gradually entered puberty. Until now, my daughter, who used to stick to me everywhere I went, Mommy, no longer spoke to me. I took puberty for granted, but when I experienced it, it was very shocking. Letha, how is junior high school and have you made friends? It doesn't matter. Letha, do you understand what you're studying? Letha, how are you doing? It's noisy. My daughter gradually began to ignore me. On the contrary, she seems to be talking to my husband about everything, from talking about her favorite idols to consulting on her studies. I try various things to shorten the distance between me and my daughter, but I am always idle. Every time, my daughter gives me a cold stare. When I consulted with my husband in the absence of my daughter, you are a bit of a talker, so you should stop doing that. I understand that you are worried about Letha. That's right. Letha isn't a little kid anymore. I guess it's annoying from Letha's point of view because I tend to nag about something. I know. From now on, I'll be careful. My husband pats me on the shoulder and smiles gently. After that, I tried to watch over my daughter, but stopped talking unnecessarily. Then, little by little, my daughter's attitude softened and she began to rebel less much. One such day, my husband went to work and my daughter went to club activities. It's been hot since the morning today. Let's clean up my house. Just as I was about to turn on the radio and start cleaning, which is my daily routine, the phone rang. Oh my God, it's so early in the morning. I turned down the volume on the radio and answered the phone. Hello, I'm Kels from the Ford Police Department. Is it Shayla Rosso's cell phone? Yes, that's right. What kind of phone call do you get from the police? In an instant, the air was tense. Your daughter has had an accident. Please go to the hospital immediately. I'll be right there. Which hospital? Is my daughter safe? I was upset. She is in Sakura General Hospital. Please take further information there. Yes, I understand. Thank you. I hung up the phone, but I don't know where to start. Anyway, I hurriedly prepared an insurance card and wallet. At the same time as I grabbed the car key and opened the front door, my daughter hurriedly entered from outside. I forgot my water bottle. What? Letha? You got into an accident. In front of me is Letha, who is looking at my face curiously. Mommy, are you okay? I'm in front of you, right now. Hurry up and get a water bottle. In spite of my absent-mindedness, my daughter waves her hand in front of me. What's going on? What do you mean I'm in an accident? Because now the police call me saying that Letha was taken to the hospital in an accident. What? Me? Didn't he mistake me for someone else? But Shayla Rosso is, Mommy, she said, let's go to the hospital anyway, and pulled my hand. My daughter, who was supposed to go to club activities, suddenly decided to miss club activities. I put my daughter in the passenger seat and drove to the hospital. Or in the car, both of them were speechless. It was as if we were both imagining what would happen next. We arrived at the hospital and explained the situation to the receptionist. Well, I got a call that my daughter was taken away in an accident. What is your name? Excuse me, I'm Shayla Rosso. Yes, Shayla Rosso. Here you go. He then led us to the nurses' station on the second floor. At the nurses' station, nurses are busy. The receptionist explained it to one of the nurses. Are you Rosso? Yes. Your daughter is in room 203 and is bedridden with broken legs. Due to the shock of the accident, she is now resting. Also, as you may have heard from the police, your husband was in an accident with her. What? Husband? Was my husband with her? The car my husband was driving had an accident, and his daughter, who was riding with him, was also injured. So your husband is in room 215. The nurse looks a little curious. Is my husband conscious? He has a broken leg and whiplash, so he had his head examined just to be sure. But there was nothing wrong with him. He's ready to talk. Oh, actually, she's the only daughter I've ever had. The nurse doesn't seem to understand the reason. It seems faster to ask my husband directly. My daughter and I rushed to my husband's hospital room. When I entered the hospital room, my husband looked at me and my daughter's faces, and he looked nervous. Did you have an accident? Yeah. Whose daughter on board? What are you talking about? I didn't have anybody. I got a call from the police saying Letha had an accident. I can't rely on the police. I was riding alone. I take out my phone. Then I'll call the police to see if you're really alone. Oh, wait a minute. By the way, there was a kid who was hitchhiking, so I put her on board and then I had an accident. I hit my head too, so I don't have a good memory. I informed the nurse that the head test was normal. I don't know how much of it is true. My daughter, who was silently listening to our story. If I just shut up and listen, what the hell is Daddy talking about? Letha, what a mouthful you are talking to, Daddy. My husband, who has never been told this by his daughter, is a little annoyed. But my daughter doesn't stop. Tell us the truth, who was on board. Shut up, Shayla. It's mostly your fault. Letha's bad attitude. That doesn't matter now. That's right, Daddy. Explain to us. At that moment, the door to the hospital room opens and a woman in a wheelchair enters. The woman has broken both legs and is in a cast. Jackie, are you okay? I have broken both legs. I'm glad I'm alive. She doesn't seem to care about me and my daughter. From the looks of it, she looks like a high school student. Hey, you're in the wrong room. I don't know you. Jackie, what's the matter? Did you hit your head or something? Don't you know about Tessie? What should I do? Then she closed the door to the hospital room. Daddy, who is this person? No, I think he was in the wrong room. Daddy doesn't know. What are you talking about, Jackie? Who are these people? Rosso's wife and daughter. What kind of relationship do you have with my husband? What? We're dating Jackie. He is my boyfriend. Tessie, what are you talking about? My husband, who involuntarily called the woman's name, said in a small voice, G. Did you mess with high school student? Tessie is 26 years old. Well, she looks younger. Unlike you, I'm not a baby-faced. I'm not proud of it, but I've also been selected as a semi-miss when I was in college. Before marriage, my husband approached me fiercely, but I was full of frustration to be told such a thing. But here I will respond calmly. So, I'm pretty sure this is the one who was mistaken for Letha and taken to the hospital? Yes, I was on my way to the movies with him. What are you doing without going to work? What's wrong with using your paid leave? You don't go to work. You live off my earnings. Do you have the right to say that? I was told the truth and faltered. Then my daughter glared at my husband. Daddy, you suck. Do you know who cook what you eat and who wash the clothes you wear? Aren't you mistaking my mom for a housekeeper or something? And you should not have a relationship with someone who has a family and be prepared for the fact that it will not be free. What? I didn't know Jackie was married and I was just forced into a relationship. So, Tessie, don't lie. Break up with you, wife. That's what you always told me. Oh no, yes, I told you. But I wasn't serious. There's no way I'm going to deal with an old man like you. You don't have anything to do except get a high salary, and your wife found out. So I'm going to break up with you. I interrupt the conversation between the two of them. I know you were having an affair with this woman. Tessie, you will take responsibility for this at a later date. Get out now. Oh, okay. Bursting, the woman hurriedly walked out. Next, I glared at my husband. And you, why did you betray us? I'm not going to betray you. There's no way I'm going to be serious with a woman like that. It's fun. Saying that, he laughs like he's making a fool of himself. It doesn't matter if you're serious or not. You still betray us. I don't care, but go get me a cup of coffee at the shop. I'm thirsty. You are not very persistent. I understood that there was no point in talking to my husband anymore. Ask the nurse. I don't want to live with you anymore, and I'm going to divorce you. Do you think you can live with a divorce from me, even though you've never worked since you got married? Anyway, I'll talk to my lawyer and get back to you about the future. That's when my daughter pulled her phone out of her pocket. Daddy, I've recorded everything, Mommy. Let's go home. She was recording our conversation on her phone. At my daughter's behavior, I made a gutsy pose in my heart. Seeing my husband in a hurry, I left the hospital room with my daughter. My daughter says to me in the car on the way home, Mommy, are you going to divorce Daddy? Well, what do you want Letha to do? I can't live with my dad like that anymore. I'm on your side. Letha, I felt a surge of power welling up within me. From now on, I have to protect Letha. I first reported it to my parents-in-law. They both seemed to not be able to believe me, but they believed my story and agreed to divorce him. However, they asked me to allow them to see my daughter from time to time, as they had always done. My parents-in-law loved Letha very much, so I accepted it. My parents were surprised, but they quickly understood. The next day, I immediately looked for a law firm that specializes in divorce mediation. Luckily, I found an office during the campaign for a free initial consultation and made an appointment. The next day, I go to the consultation. I will report the details of my past to my lawyer and tell them that I want a divorce. The lawyer moved quickly. It seems that the woman who was having an affair was hospitalized and could not escape. At first, she was dismissive, saying, I don't care, but the evidence she recorded helped her. So she reluctantly admitted to cheating. However, it seems that the woman does not have enough savings to pay alimony, so she decides to ask her parents to pay in advance. After that, the woman soon separated from her husband, and her injuries healed and she was discharged from the hospital. They work from morning to night to return the money to their parents. Until the very end, my husband refused to admit to the affair. Interesting response to the evidence on his daughter's smartphone, he refused and saying, It's not my voice. However, thanks to the lawyer's daily visits to the hospital, my husband must have been forced to admit his fault. As a result, they paid alimony in a lump sum, and of course, I was given custody of my daughter. In addition, I will be asked to pay child support every month until my daughter turns 20. The house we lived in quickly found a buyer. It was still new and too big for 3 people, so I sold for quite a high price. I was going to get all the money from the sale, but I didn't want to get involved anymore, so I split it with my ex-husband. Let's think of it as a piece of money. After being discharged from the hospital, the ex-husband seems to have returned to his parents' house, and scolds him for cheating and withdraws to his room. As it was, he tended to take time off and eventually quit his job. I was worried about child support, but my parents-in-law paid me a lump sum from my retirement allowance on behalf of my ex-husband. After that, the ex-husband is evicted from his parents' house. He finally found a part-time job at a supermarket. On top of the unfamiliar job, the pride of working for a prestigious company gets in the way, and it seems that relationships are not going well. I don't know what happened after that, and it doesn't matter to me anymore. I went back to my parents' house with my daughter. Originally, my parents' house was nearby, so my daughter was able to live as usual without having to change schools. Then I started going to a public employment security office. I had a qualification in medical administration, so I was looking for a nearby hospital, but I had a gap of 16 years, so I couldn't find a job. I was depressed, but I got good news from my daughter. On my way home from school, I found a poster on the bulletin board of the hospital that said, "Medical office wanted." What is the hospital right there? Why don't you go for an interview? The hospital there was the hospital I used to be taken care of when I was a child. I immediately had an interview and was hired on the spot. Is this what darkness under the lighthouse means? I'm 45 years old, my daughter is 20 years old, has left home, and is attending a university outside the prefecture. I still work as a medical clerk at the same hospital every day. I am living a fulfilling life. There has never been a day when I regretted getting divorced.